let's get started. We have three of our hosts. My name is John. I'm one of the co-founders of ITA. I work primarily in content and editing on the website and so forth. I'm originally from Southern California, but I was very lucky. I got to grow up in Cairo, Egypt, and was able to live and travel abroad from an early age and then work abroad. You know, it just opened my eyes to the world, and I fell in love with travel, and I've worked in international education, travel writing, and TEFL for my entire career. I've been working in TEFL for more than 10 years. That's the same with my colleague Doug here, and our colleague Ahmed, who should be joining us as well. Ahmed, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome, Ahmed. Why don't you give yourself a quick introduction here, and then Doug will talk about himself, and we'll get started.
Absolutely, yeah. So I joined ITA about a year and a half ago. Prior to that, I was kind of bouncing around, involved in education in different ways. I taught in the UAE, in the city of Dubai for 5 years, which is not something that I planned to do for that long, but it was amazing. I made good money. I had the chance to see the world, and so I really enjoyed it, and I stayed there for a while. But yeah, other than that, I'm excited to be part of ITA and help other people also achieve that dream of seeing the world and being involved in education.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks, Ahmed. And yeah, my name's Doug. I will be doing my best to answer all of your questions this evening. I've been with International TEFL Academy for over 7 years now, helped thousands of people just like you move overseas to teach abroad. I actually got my start studying abroad in college. I studied over in Australia. And from there have been able to travel to about 20 different countries since then, you know, working, you know, traveling, you know, studying on more than 5 continents, and love helping others and inspiring people to do this. So yeah, I look forward to going through all your questions and talking about the best places to teach this year.
Awesome. So just so you guys are aware, if at any point you have questions, just like Doug mentioned, during this presentation, you can always just shoot your question. If you see that little picture right there, you can enter a question. Doug will receive it. Like he said, he's going to try to get to as many of them as possible. I want to stress that it's one human being and a lot of attendees right now. So he will answer as many as possible. But if your question is not addressed, please reach out to your admissions advisor, who, like Doug, is also an expert on all of these things and would be more than happy to share with you resources and talk to you about things. So definitely shoot your questions, but if you don't hear back an answer directly or immediately, then your admissions advisor is waiting.
Yeah, and they will get all of the questions that you type in during the broadcast. So definitely get in touch with them as well. Before we get started, just wanted to give a quick plug for International TEFL Academy social media. So please follow us and like us and so forth on Instagram and Facebook. We publish a ton of fantastic content about teaching abroad, about travel abroad, about TEFL certification. We feature loads and loads of alumni stories, video takeovers, articles, interviews, Q&As, tons of travel tips and so forth. So you'll get a great amount of content. You'll become part of an international community of teachers and travelers, and it's just a great way to connect with everybody in the world of teaching English abroad. So please follow us there.
All right, so quickly, here's just a quick recap, or an agenda rather, of what we're going to be covering today. So we're going to start with a little bit about us, who we are here at ITA, what it is that we do. We're going to talk a little bit about TEFL certification in general, why it's important, why there's a need for it in the world, just some quick job market basics about what you can expect from different parts of the world. And then we're going to dive into what you came here for, which is a discussion of the top 10, our picks at ITA, for the top 10 countries for teaching English abroad in 2020. We'll talk a little bit after that about our classes that we offer, which ones we might recommend for certain regions of the world. We'll give you a quick recap on our job search guidance, which is a huge draw for a lot of students to our school. It's our one-on-one guidance. And finally, we will have, time permitting, some time to go over some questions and answers.
Yeah, and just to introduce ourselves, here at International TEFL Academy, we're a worldwide leader in TEFL certification for teaching English abroad. So basically, we train people to teach English overseas, and we help you find jobs all over the world. So we're really a full-service TEFL organization. We provide personalized support from experts, literally from the first time you call in or fill out a form throughout your TEFL class, and then in terms of job search guidance and postgraduate support and alumni engagement. We're very proud that in recent years we've won a lot of accolades and recognition as a top TEFL school in the world. We have tons of fantastic reviews on lots of different third-party websites. We invite you to check those out and, not just read about, how great we are at ITA, but really to get a lot of good firsthand perspectives on the actual experience of teaching English overseas and also teaching English online.
All right, take a look at those shining, beautiful faces. So that's our team. We took that picture at our first ever ITA Alumni Film Festival that we hosted last year. We're hosting the second annual one coming up soon in a few months. So that's all of us right there. I think most importantly, the thing to note about our team here at ITA is that we have been in your shoes before. Over 90% of us have taught abroad internationally. A lot of us are coming to this with having no previous background in education. We all wanted to travel to see the world. And so we have been in your shoes. We've done this before. We're travelers. We're a team of travelers who are always excited about exploring and doing stuff. And we're happy to help you because we have had the fantastic experiences and we've come back to sort of assist others in getting on that path themselves and hopefully getting you TEFL certified so that you can get overseas or teach online, whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah, and what is TEFL? It's one of these acronyms that gets thrown around. You see it all over the internet and so forth. Basically, it stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. There are lots of similar acronyms that you'll see out there: ESL, English as a Second Language, TESOL, Teaching English to speakers of other languages, and so forth. But basically, the idea is you're getting trained to teach English as a foreign language to non-native speakers. We offer internationally accredited classes to provide you with the training and skills that you need to be able to go out into the world and teach an English class in Tokyo or Madrid or wherever it is that you end up going. And we provide comprehensive, personalized, very intense worldwide job search guidance to help all of our students and graduates get jobs all over the world teaching English as a foreign language.
Awesome. Great. So transitioning from that, before we dive into the top 10 markets that we're going to be discussing tonight, we just wanted to give you a bit of an overview about some of the job market basics. And that way you can evaluate these different countries as you're thinking about what it is that you want to do and start thinking about choosing ones that are the best fit for you. Because ultimately, you don't want to go where a company thinks you should go. You want to go where you want to go, and you have reasons for that. And so we will help you decide that hopefully tonight, but also will help you understand how we will help you in terms of finding jobs in those places.
All right, so one of the first matters to consider are interviews. So when you're teaching English abroad, these are real jobs, you're getting paid and so forth. You do have to interview, and it's important to note that different countries and different regions around the world, interviews they happen differently. So there's some countries in the world, let's say Argentina and South America, where most language schools are interviewing and hiring locally face-to-face. So it means you need to go down there typically during a hiring season. You use all of the resources and contacts that we provide you to set up interviews, and you interview typically for jobs where they're looking for people to start teaching right away. In other cases, and this is more often the case in, let's say, East Asian countries like Japan, South Korea, China, and so forth, very often you're interviewing in advance from home, maybe through a recruiter. You're interviewing on phone or Skype or Zoom or something like that, and you line up a job and you sign a contract and you have a job waiting for you. Some people really prefer having that security of having a job in hand when they head overseas. Other people like to scope things out in advance. In any case, talk to your advisor and look at the country profiles on our website to learn more about how things work in countries that you're interested in teaching in.
All right, visas. So much fun. Gotta love visas. So the visa is basically a stamp that is in your passport that you will use to teach English abroad in that particular country. Visa types and the process for getting that particular visa for that country, it all varies greatly depending on country and typical protocol in that country and a lot of bureaucratic stuff, complex processes. So be sure to talk to your admissions advisor about visas for the countries that you're considering because, for example, in a lot of parts of Latin America, you don't get a work visa. So you just kind of stay there on a tourist visa and exit and re-enter as many times as you want, and it's legal and cool. That's just how it is. And then in other parts of the world, like in Eastern Asian countries where things are more strict, you're going to have to get your visa all sorted out before you even step on the airplane. It's something that requires consulates and embassies and sending stuff. So visas are very different. Be sure to figure out exactly what steps you need to take for your visa in the place that you want to go to.
Yeah, another thing you need to be talking to your advisor about, degrees. So one of the great things about teaching English abroad is you don't have to have prior teaching experience or background or in education or a degree in education or anything like that. That said, there are some countries and some teaching English online companies that are going to require that you have a 4-year college or university degree, typically in addition to a TEFL certification. That said, there are plenty of countries and companies that will hire you without a university degree, especially if you do have a TEFL certification. And even without a degree, even if you've never taken a college class in your life, if you do get TEFL certified, there are at least 50 countries around the world where you can teach English abroad and or online.
All right, next, hiring seasons. So this is also an important one depending on where you want to go. There are a lot of parts of the world that do biannual hiring, usually at the beginning of the year and then again in the summer. Here I'm thinking about Europe, some of the countries in the Middle East, and a majority of Latin America. Then there are other parts of the world, like in East Asia, some of the countries in Latin America, some of the countries in the Middle East, especially in the Persian Gulf, where hiring happens all year round because of job availability, and it's kind of a revolving door. So people come and go, and so you can get a job in some of these places anytime. You have to understand and have a good grasp of the hiring season for the market that you want to go to so that you can time your timeline correctly, show up at the right time to have the best chance of getting a job there.
All right, money. Lots of financial considerations. Let's face it, moving abroad to teach English and to live in a foreign country, finances are going to be part of the deal. The good news is, hey, with your TEFL certification, you're getting hired to be a professional teacher. You're going to get paid to live and travel overseas and make a difference as a teacher. What can beat that? That said, you're going to have to engage in some financial planning and do some research to learn about, what the financial situation for you might be in different countries. There's some countries where you can get paid a lot more than other countries. Typically, though, you're going to be at least making enough money to cover your expenses and live comfortably and, enjoy life. If not on a lavish level, then certainly in a very comfortable level. Many English teachers abroad will teach English online and or give private lessons to boost their income. I know Ahmed did in Dubai. Highest salaries tend to be in East Asian and Middle Eastern countries, especially in the Persian Gulf. We have a ton of great resources about finances on our website. So we have our country chart, which compares salaries and startup costs in more than 60 countries worldwide. We have an entire ebook guide about everything to do with financial planning for teaching English abroad and financial information. And then if you look at individual country profiles, you'll learn about, specific financial guidelines for different countries in terms of startup costs and salaries and so forth. So check it all out and definitely, again, talk to your advisor.
All right, the moment that you have all been waiting for. So now we are going to start covering our picks for the top countries for teaching abroad in 2020. Let's kick it off.
Yeah, and just to make a few points, this list is based on a number of factors, including the availability of jobs, the different types of jobs. We wanted some geographic diversity, and just fantastic countries that also offer tons of great opportunities for TEFL certified teachers to teach English abroad and also teach English online. So let's kick it off with Cambodia, a fantastic nation in Southeast Asia, a tropical climate, lots of fantastic history and culture. If you've ever heard of Angkor Wat, one of the great monuments in the world, this is where it's located. Other great stuff about Cambodia, you don't need a college degree. The cost of living is very low, so you're able to live very comfortably and even save a bit of money if you're, let's say, teaching English online on the side. So, very colorful place, great place to enjoy cold beer on a hot day. And it's definitely on my list of places to go back to.
All right, next up, a very, very popular choice. We're going to keep it in Asia, Japan. Japan is probably one of the oldest established English teaching markets in the world. People have been going there and doing this for decades at this point. You have the ability in Japan, expensive as it might be, to still save up to $500 or more per month after your expenses, because you get paid well and you have the ability, especially with some of the benefits and the perks that you receive, to really save a considerable part of your income, which I think is awesome. The main types of employers, you have private academies known as IKAIWAs, and then you have public schools, which you are placed into through a program like JET, which is extremely popular, or some of the Interact programs. You get your work visa for Japan, sponsored by your employer in advance. You're interviewing over Skype or phone call, you're fielding offers via email, and then you're deciding and signing a contract and getting everything ironed out for your visa before you go there. There's hiring that definitely happens through recruiters. And if you're wondering how that works, we at ITA will connect you with a recruiter for free who will basically shop your resume around and come back to you with interviews and really try to match you with the types of jobs that you are interested in. Obviously, Japan provides fantastic travel opportunities throughout Asia and throughout Japan itself. And the culture is fascinating, it's ancient, the food is amazing, and so you cannot go wrong going to a country like Japan.
Right, and they're hosting the Olympics this summer. How about that?
Yes, they are.
All right, keeping it in Asia one more time, China. And it's really hard to overstate how large the job market is in China. There are more than 400 million Chinese learning English. It's absolutely astounding. Demand is so high, they're offering great pay and benefits for many jobs, housing, airfare often included. Needless to say, China is one of the world's great civilizations and most ancient civilizations. So there's tons to explore in terms of history and culture. Of course, the food is fantastic. And it's a very diverse and large country. So there are lots of options in terms of different regions and climates and so forth. It's like the United States in that respect. If you're in the south, it's going to be warm and subtropical. If you're in the north, you're going to have 4 seasons and winter and spring and autumn and so forth. So lots to learn when it comes to teaching English in China. Definitely delve in and especially check out those alumni videos and Q&As on our website.
All right. Finally leaving Asia for a bit and throwing it over to my neck of the woods. Although I'm from the Levant and not from North Africa, I feel very strongly about Middle Eastern countries getting proper representation as awesome markets, because a lot of them really are. Morocco is a very strong market. We have definitely seen an increase of interest in being in a place like Morocco, which has beautiful cities and amazing food and warm hospitality and culture. It is in North Africa, and there's a definite strong demand now more than ever for English teachers. French was the main second language after Arabic for the longest. That has slowly started shifting towards English, being that English is the lingua franca, and people understand the benefits of having English and the way that it might help with their careers. And so now people in Morocco are demanding native English speakers to come and teach them because that's what they want. And so that's also the direction the world is moving. So there's a very distinct blend there of North African and Arab culture. And so you have a lot of like mountain cultures, like Berber cultures, which are all very unique and ancient. I have a lot of friends from North Africa, and they definitely have a lot of very awesome and colorful traditions. Most jobs in Morocco require a degree. It's a legal requirement in order for you to get a work visa. And you know, the cities, the coastline, the food there, the access to Europe. You can pop over to Spain, you can pop over to France or Italy. And so it really is a beautiful part of the world that sort of connects a lot of different ancient cultures.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally swim from Morocco to Spain.
Yeah.
That's how close it is. Awesome. All right, moving on. Vietnam, back in Asia right quickly. This is just really one of the top markets. You could put this market number one for sure. It's fast growing. It's an amazing country. Cost of living is low. Salaries are good. So English teachers are able to save $600 a month or more in many cases in Vietnam. And in Vietnam, $600, that's like $3,000 in the States,
Yeah.
literally, in terms of your purchasing power. You know, it's a warm country with lots of beaches, colorful cities, tons of history. It's really at the meeting point of sort of Buddhist Southeast Asia and Confucian North Asia. So it's just right in the heart of the region. You are going to, you know, this is one country where you can interview locally on the ground. We have a couple of great TEFL classes in Vietnam where you can go take a 4-week class and get a job with the assistance of the team there, or you can take the course online and then go there, or maybe you can line up a job in advance. Lots of different options. A degree is required, and this is also a country where a lot of people will teach English online. If they just want to go for a few months, it's a great way for them to support themselves.
All right, moving over to our first entry from Europe, and a great one at that, and probably one of the ones I recommend the most to my prospective students when we're talking about Europe. It's the Czech Republic. It is quintessential Europe, castles and colorful buildings and rivers and all of the beautiful stuff, sidewalk cafes, everything you think about when you think about Europe, but affordable, still relatively affordable, especially compared to some of the more expensive Western European cities. Still wonderful location with easy access to a lot of amazing countries around it. Prague is one of the most beautiful cities in all of Europe. A BA, having a bachelor's degree, is typically required for jobs there. There are maybe a few times where if you don't have one, but you're highly qualified and you take our class there, it might be an option. So something worth considering, but probably better to have a BA if the Czech Republic is as high on your list. It has a definite lower cost of living than a lot of the neighboring countries in Europe. There are plenty of travel opportunities, like I mentioned. You would get a work permit through something known as the Zivno visa, which is essentially like a freelance visa that gives you legal right to live and work there. So you would have no problem traveling in and out and experiencing all of the cultures nearby. And did you know that in Prague, beer is actually cheaper than water? So there's that little factoid.
Yeah, count me in. All right, Taiwan, back to Asia. Taiwan's kind of a hidden gem in many respects. A lot of people don't know much about it, but it's a fascinating country. It's essentially Chinese. They speak Mandarin, but it is an independent nation off the southeast corner of China. So it's sometimes we used to call it the Chinese Jamaica. It's a tropical island. It's got beautiful beaches. You can surf and that sort of thing. It has very mountainous, lush interior. So if you're into hiking and zip lining or biking and that sort of thing, absolute fantastic location. And then the cities, big, modern, dynamic cities. A lot of local color, great food, and so forth, and a really strong job market. They pay well. You can definitely save money there. You can work on your Mandarin. Like most Asian countries, your work visa is going to be sponsored by your employer. It's a place where typically you get a job in advance. So just a really good location. This is the sort of place that, it pays off when you do your research and you look into a country like Taiwan. So definitely recommend checking it out.
All right, our first entry from Latin America, Colombia, which is at this point apparently the coolest place in the world because so many of my colleagues and John's and Doug's here at ITA have been traveling there and spending time there. We, in fact, had one of our student affairs team members recently move down there. And so, like, it's a cool place. Everyone wants to be there. Everyone, it seems to be that the secret is out on Colombia and how awesome it is. There's no bachelor's degree requirement like the rest of Latin America. So it's a great option if you don't have a BA and you're looking for an awesome experience living in a beautiful, culturally rich place with great food and warm people. This is it. This is the type of experience you're looking for. There's a very low cost of living, even though you would be living in very modern, world-class cities. It is an amazing place to learn Spanish. It's probably a better place to learn Spanish than, say, Spain itself, because Spain is so multicultural and it's right there in Europe and there's people speaking all languages. But Colombia and some of the other countries in Latin America provide you that opportunity to really immerse yourself in a Spanish-speaking environment. In terms of the top markets that we would recommend, and obviously these are not the only ones, but the two biggest are Medellin and Bogota. Highly recommended, amazing cities. I don't know one person who's been to either place and did not like it. The climate is nice, it's temperate. You are going to be in a cool place where you can enjoy your hoodies and your shorts and going to the beach and all of those types of things. There's a very high demand currently. It's one of the only places in all of Latin America where you can get a job most of the year. And teaching English online is also something we would recommend for more income, since it is a break-even market like the rest of Latin America. If you needed more income, I would highly recommend teaching online for more money or even private tutoring and some of those things.
All right. Also in Latin America, Costa Rica, it's a small country, but big job market. And it's, just really offers a great combination in terms of both the job market for teaching English, loads of jobs. You don't have to have a BA, year-round hiring, and of course, Costa Rica offers a lot in terms of the culture and the natural beauty, the coastlines, the jungles, and so forth. Fantastic people, great place also to learn Spanish. Huge ITA alumni community in Costa Rica for networking, for making friends, for having meetups and going out on the town and so forth. It's close to the United States, so for those of you who want to be a little bit closer to home, it's a little bit less expensive to fly back and forth. If your cousin's getting married or whatever it is, you want to be closer to the U.S., Costa Rica offers that proximity. And ITA has 2 in-person TEFL classes in Costa Rica, one in the interior and one on the coast. So some great options for TEFL certification. And the team down there, they have literally decades of experience in the local job market, and they're going to be able to help you find jobs, throughout the country. So lots to look forward to in Costa Rica.
All right, and our number one, yet again, South Korea. As I tell my students when I speak with them, it is essentially the red carpet treatment. You, especially as a first-time teacher, without having any experience, you will be set up for a lot of success in a place like South Korea. You'll have the ability, like in China, maybe even more, to save a majority of your income. You can save $1,000 or more per month after all of your expenses. And that's because you get so many perks: reimbursed airfare, furnished housing for free, sometimes transportation, healthcare, all of these things covered. You're making good money and you're saving most of it. That's even with living a very fun social life where you're going out and exploring and being a part of society and having friends and all of those things. You're still putting away a majority of the money that you're making, which is amazing. Your work visa is sponsored by your employer. Like Japan and China, you're applying for jobs in advance, interviewing over Skype or phone. A majority of the hiring for South Korea, if it's not through their government-funded programs like EPIC, which is a very popular one, most of the hiring and most of the jobs are at private schools known as hagwons, which are like private English academies. They tend to hire through recruiters. So like for Japan and sometimes for China, we would connect you for free to one of our South Korea recruiters who will basically shop your applications around and come back to you with interviews. which I think is great because you just let them know the things that you want, the things that you don't want, location preferences, and they try to do some of that work and come back to you with good options. You interview well, you will get a job. If you are young, native English speaker with a bachelor's degree in literally anything, you can get an awesome, high-paying job in South Korea and really be able to experience a fascinating culture. It's an easy language to pick up as far as I understand, so you can learn a new language, amazing food options, Korean barbecue, nightlife that never seems to end. People are out till 3, 4 a.m. in cities like Seoul. A lot of outdoor opportunities to go out and hike because you have mountains and it's beautiful and a lot of nature and greenery. So it's really an all-around perfect place to start your teaching abroad adventure. Even if you want to go somewhere else, you could just go there, pay off some loans, save a lot of money, do whatever you need to do, and then you can start bouncing around and experiencing other parts of the world.
Yeah, it's a hard combination to beat for sure. And we just wanted to touch on a bonus option and that is teaching English online. This is one of the fastest growing parts of the TEFL industry, if you will. It provides tremendous convenience because you can move from place to place, so you can country hop, and as long as you have secure internet connections, you can teach and make money basically at your own schedule and your own pace. It pays pretty well. Most first-time teachers from ITA graduates are able to make at or around $20 an hour, and in many parts of the world, that goes a lot farther than it would in, let's say, the United States. Also, it's a way for you to start getting experience and making money before you head abroad. So if you take your TEFL class online, and you can start teaching English online from home, start making money to save for other startup costs or whatever other financial obligations you may have, or maybe you just want to save. And it's a way to start earning money as soon as you start getting overseas, because in many cases, when you go overseas to teach English abroad, it's going to be a month or so before you start getting paid. They're not going to hand you a paycheck when you walk off the plane. So teaching English online is a way for you to start generating income before you actually head abroad. We're really excited here at ITA. We offer a new teaching English online specialty class exclusively to our own students and alumni. And this provides great instruction and teaching methodology and best practices and how to find a job teaching English online and so forth, to build on the standard skills that you're going to learn in your standard TEFL class. So definitely talk to your advisor about teaching English online, and then also about the TEO specialty class. All right, so pointers for choosing which country is best for you. And obviously, this is going to vary from person to person. We all have different goals and aspirations. Perhaps you want to learn a specific language. Perhaps you want to go to a new part of the world. Perhaps you have ancestry or heritage in one part of the world that you want to explore. It could be anything, but a couple pieces of advice when looking at your options. One, do as much research as possible. The better prepared you are, you're just going to find better opportunities. And also, you're going to open your mind up to places that you haven't thought of. So be open-minded and be flexible. The more places you're willing to look at, the more places you're willing to apply for jobs, the more jobs you apply to in the more countries, you're just going to have that many more options in the end. And definitely talk to your advisor. These are experts, they're trained, they're going to be able to provide you with realistic answers to your questions, and really help you put together the plan that you need to reach your goal of teaching English abroad in 2020, whether it's in one of these countries or any number of other countries as well.
All right, let's talk a little bit about TEFL classes. This is the key to getting you to any of these awesome places. It's going to be step one regardless, and whether you decide to take a class in person or online, you want to make sure that it is the right class that makes sense for your goals, for your timeline, for your finances. You don't need to have any prior teaching experience or a degree in education for you to teach English abroad. So we just want to make that very clear. A lot of people come to us and they say, you know, I've never taught before, or I'm not licensed in my state, or whatever the case may be. None of those things are a requirement for teaching English abroad. There's no job, no country that's going to ask to see that you are licensed, except for maybe a handful here or there. But for the most part, you either need a degree or you don't, and it doesn't matter what it's in. And so getting the proper TEFL certification, the proper training that will prepare you will give you the foundational skills for becoming a great and effective international teacher, which is a lifelong skill that you could use in a multitude of ways even after you're done teaching.
All right, so the most popular option for our students for their TEFL certification is our 170-hour online TEFL class. This class is accredited internationally at level 5, so that is on par with all of the top 4-week classes offered by International TEFL Academy and other premier TEFL providers, including CELTA. So this online class recognized at the same level as a CELTA. It's taught by university level instructors. They possess at least a master's degree, at least 10 years of teaching experience. They've all taught English abroad as well. We maintain small class sizes. This is a part-time class over 11 weeks. You're typically looking at anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a week to spend on your class time. It is a very interactive class in terms of videos and live webinars and live office hours and peer-to-peer interaction and so forth. That said, there's no required live time, so you don't have to worry that your online class is going to conflict with your job or going to school or what have you. So it's really designed specifically to accommodate people who are working or going to school full time. Also, a tuition of $1,399. It is the most cost-effective way to get TEFL certified. And if you decide that you're ready to go, you can save $100 by enrolling by the 15th of this month, which is the end of the day tomorrow.
And so while the online option is awesome and flexible and 11 weeks and part-time and all of that, in-person classes are a 4-week full-time commitment. We like to call them TEFL boot camps because they really do feel like that. Here I'm thinking Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 for 4 weeks. You're probably not making any income, even if you're an online teacher, because in the evenings, you're going to have assignments and things to plan for the next day. So you really are dedicating one entire month to your TEFL training. But the good news is that you finish it, you're all done, you get certified, you're ready to go in a much quicker time. Usually with at least 100 hours of coursework and at least 6 hours of practicum or live practice teaching. You will have professional instructors who have at least a master's in this field. So you will only be working with experts the entire time, ones who have a lot of experience in their location where you might be taking the class, whether it's in the US or abroad. Usually capped at 12 students. So that provides a lot of individualized attention for each person who takes an in-person class. You will have plenty of time to receive feedback from your instructor and be able to ask all of those deep questions that you're thinking about in terms of like pedagogy and teaching methods and all of those things. Tuition is typically higher than the online class, ranging anywhere from $1,599 to upwards of $2,500 or more. That doesn't take into account food and housing, especially if you don't already live near one of the classes. So in the US, we offer our main flagship course here in Chicago, and then we offer another course in New York City. If you don't live in those cities, you will have to fly, excuse me, and travel somewhere to go take the class, whether it's here in the US or it's abroad. We have classes in over 20 locations around the world, in Latin America, in Europe, in Southeast Asia. If you were very adamant about teaching in a particular market or region, we would recommend that you go take the class there in person if you have the funds to do so that you can get certified and be on the ground ready to hit the job market as soon as you're done. So the staff who work there at these different locations that we have for our classes, they have decades of experience in the local community, connections to jobs and schools. They know who's hiring and when. And so you would have that added layer of support.
All right, so in addition to our standard 4-week or 11-week online TEFL class, we offer specialty classes to our students and alumni, and this is a way for you to build on your standard TEFL training with more specialized training in different fields, such as teaching English online, teaching business English to adults, and teaching English to young learners. So within all these different subsets, there are specific skills to learn in terms of teaching methodologies, classroom management, lesson planning. These classes also provide insights into job markets, especially for teaching English online, to help you navigate, okay, how do I find a job teaching English online if I want to teach to groups, or I want to tutor individuals, or I want to work at a big company, or I want to work as a private contractor. This class will provide you with the insights and guidance you need to figure all of that out. Tuition for these classes is $279, though you can receive a $25 discount if you enroll for any specialty classes when you enroll in your standard TEFL class as well. Again, talk to your advisor to learn more, but these will really give you a leg up in terms of competing in the job market, and also having better skill set when you're actually working with your students, being able to provide them with a better educational experience.
All right, so a lot of things to consider when deciding how to choose which is the right TEFL class for you. At the very top of most people's list is finances. The online class that we offer is definitely the most cost effective. It is the most popular probably because of that reason, along with also being an awesome class and being top ranked and all of those things, but it is more affordable than any of the in-person options. Now, if you have the money to take the class in New York and you live 2 or 3 subway stops away, by all means, take the class in New York. It's awesome too, or any of these other places, right? So convenience and location are also important. If you were, for example, dead set on teaching in Thailand, we could recommend that you go take the class in Thailand, which is convenient and would put you on the ground ready for your job hunt. But if you're open to location and you're a little bit more flexible and you're not quite sure what your game plan is yet, but you know you want to do this, the online usually makes more sense rather than putting yourself in a place where you might not necessarily want to be long term. Personal learning style is also going to be very important. Can you handle remote learning? Can you handle sitting at your computer, typing away, interacting with your peers, reading feedback from your professor, or do you need to be there in person receiving personalized and individual attention face to face? Where do you want to teach? Are you open? And what is your timeline? If someone came to me and said, I need to be abroad in 3 months for X reason, then maybe the 3-month-long online class might not be the right move for that person. They might need to go take a class in person so that they're ready to hit the job hunt. But if you have a bit of a flexible timeline, or say you're about to start your final semester of senior year and you know you want to do this in the summer or right after you graduate, I would highly recommend getting it out of the way online. You're not at a disadvantage. The training is top-notch. It's internationally recognized by employers and recruiters. They know who we are. So you're not putting yourself at a disadvantage by taking an online class instead of an in-person.
All right, one question that comes up very frequently, how much should a TEFL class cost, and why are there differences between different TEFL schools and so forth? A lot of people look online and they see, you know, a Groupon class for $50 for TEFL certification. And then you see classes like ours, you know, really in-depth, high-level classes that are going to cost, you know, $1,000 or more. And there are, you know, several factors you want to look at when you're considering your options. Remember that you are investing in a high-level educational experience. You are training to become a professional teacher. Like anything else in life, typically teaching English abroad and TEFL certification, if something looks too good to be true, it probably is. So if you think, hey, am I really going to learn how to become a professional teacher from a self-paced $50 online class? Am I going to receive the sort of guidance I need to find a job in the Czech Republic or Colombia or Japan? Probably not. Like anything else, you're going to get what you pay for. We invest heavily in the expertise of our staff, in hiring top-level university professors, in building relationships with partners and organizations and schools around the world. We invest heavily in our alumni engagement. So these are all things that you want to think about in terms of, okay, is this something I want to do on the cheap and maybe not get what I need in terms of guidance and support, or I really want to do this right and work with an outfit that's going to provide me with the personalized guidance and expertise I need to actually get a job in some place like Germany or Mexico or Costa Rica. So please think about these things and get in touch with your advisor with any questions.
All right, so on that note, job search guidance, our student affairs team, they are amazing. We're going to talk a little bit about the types of services that are offered to our students, which are amazing, comprehensive one-on-one services. So one of the first things that you are going to be thinking about is, how do I apply for jobs? What kind of resume is this particular market looking for? That type of stuff. So resume and cover letter assistance is part of the package. You're going to have your own dedicated advisor who will work with you, give you recommendations, share with you certain templates that are known to work, that have helped our students get jobs in the past, help you in terms of converting your resume to an international CV, which is usually the requirement, and that type of stuff. You're going to get very personalized advice and help game planning, because your situation is unique. Not every single person has the same story or the same wants and needs and asks for their experience. You have concerns, probably your parents or your family or friends have concerns. You will have that personalized advice from an advisor who is an expert, who has lived abroad, taught abroad, and knows all the ins and outs of the job search process, visas, all of those things. There are live webcasts, trainings, and workshops that are hosted by the student affairs team for alumni only on very specific topics like resumes or how to find a job or things you should look for in preparing for interviews, that type of stuff. Sometimes regional types of webcasts, but for alumni, so it's going to go deeper into something than, you know, one of these public live webcasts. There are job search resources, including a job search guidance manual, which is this massive 400+ page document with detailed information about literally every single teaching market in the world, getting a visa, links to things, official websites, all of that important stuff, the different types of visas you can get. It is your one-stop shop. You will never have to Google anything again to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to get a job in Mexico? It's all going to be right there, updated and accessible for you at all times. A lot of how-tos and types of guides that you would be receiving as an alum. And all of this is for life. It doesn't cost you anything. It's included in tuition, and it is literally for life. You can start off in Asia, then we'll help you get a job in Europe, and then help you get closer back home to Latin America, and then also help you get a job teaching online at the same time. And you could be doing all of these different things. I always like to tell my students, there is no formula. You could do this however you want to do it, and just know that you will be supported the entire time.
All right, and the flip side of that is alumni community and engagement. So for a lot of you, this may be your first time ever going abroad, and that's fantastic. And we've really worked hard to build a network of international teachers and travelers from our students and alumni. We've certified more than approximately 30,000 people in the past 10 years, about 5,000, 6,000 people a year. And we've really built some incredible networks to enable people to connect, to share information with each other, to meet each other. So we've set up, for example, more than 90 Facebook groups exclusively for our alumni, many of them by country. So as soon as you enroll in your TEFL class, you're able to join these groups and connect with people like yourself who are actually in these places, living and teaching. They're sharing job tips, they're sharing job announcements. Very often they're looking to meet up with people, make friends, find a roommate. Many of them are just there to help answer your questions. And it's just really fantastic. We really also want to tell the stories of our alumni. So we published hundreds and hundreds of articles, FAQs, takeover videos. And as Ahmed mentioned earlier in the broadcast, we ran our first international ITA Teach Abroad Film Festival, which was a fantastic success, covered by media organizations like the Chicago Tribune and so forth. And it was really a fantastic opportunity for ITA graduates and students to tell their story on film. And it was just a really fantastic and moving experience to be there, to see what kind of, how an experience like teaching abroad can shape people's lives. We also sponsor meetups every year on World Alumni Day, usually in September. So about 30 cities worldwide, ITA graduates and students get together and share stories and make friends and so forth. So this huge international community of teachers and travelers, it's really something that's unique to ITA. No other TEFL organization has anything like this. And again, as soon as you enroll in your class, you're able to tap into all of these networks and take advantage of this fantastic community.
All right, so we're nearing the end now. I know you're thinking to yourself at this point, guys, what is the catch? You're telling me all this amazing information. What's the catch? There is no catch. The next steps are right there in front of you. They're outlined. All you need to do is talk to your advisor, get in touch with them, shoot them an email, shoot them a text message. We're all millennials. You can just get in touch with us, set up a phone call, and have that conversation about game planning, about what you want to do, about what's unique to your situation, and we will guide you on how to go about it, what we recommend as experts in this industry, what game plan you should be putting together. We'll even help you arrange things with regards to finances. We are there to assist you, to answer questions, to shed light, to shed our own experience, that type of stuff. So step one, get in touch with an advisor. Step two, get your certification. If you're like, I don't need to talk to a human, I know I want to do this because y'all are the best, which is true, then get certified, sign up for a class, take that step, and that initial step is going to lead down a road of amazing opportunities, doors being opened, the ability to travel the world and see things, or even if you plan to just stay at home in the US or Canada or elsewhere and make money teaching online, this is the primary step to doing so. And finally, experiencing the world as a paid English teacher abroad. You can do this in so many different ways in so many amazing countries with beautiful, rich cultures and awesome food and warm people, and you can really be involved in a global community, meeting others who are doing this. So it's a very beautiful experience, and it's easy to do. It's just a matter of taking the steps to get there.
All right. Well, we're going to take a couple questions here in a moment, but first we want to ask you for your feedback. How did we do? What did you think of this webcast? What would you like to see us cover in other webcasts, in new webcasts? It'll take literally a minute or two. Doug will pop the link into the chat. Also, you will be getting a follow-up email with a link for this survey as well. So again, we really appreciate your feedback. It really helps us provide better content to yourself and other people coming down the line who are also interested in teaching English abroad. So we appreciate that. Also, to say thank you to all of you for joining us for this broadcast. We're going to be sending you a special coupon that you can use to save $50 off your TEFL class if you enroll by the end of this month. So keep an eye out for that email. If you have any questions about it, talk to your advisor. You should be doing that anyway. And yeah, again, we thank you for joining us. And Doug, can we take a few questions here before we sign off at the top of the hour?
Great job, guys. I'm still here, icing my fingers at the moment. Lots of great questions from all 170 plus of you. So yeah, great job. Really informative. Got a lot of good questions. First off, I'm going to answer one. I'm getting a lot of questions about who is my advisor. Everyone's telling me to talk to. So everybody was assigned an initial admissions advisor when you first requested information. So you have emails from them. Probably the first email you got from us, and many emails reminding you about this webinar. Just reply to it, and your advisor will get in touch. Ahmed, I got a question for you. A lot of people are asking about this top 10. I got a lot of where's Thailand on the list.
Yeah, I mean, Thailand is a great market. It's been in previous top 10s, but I think this year we decided to give it a rest and highlight some of the other awesome places in Southeast Asia, particularly places like Cambodia that seem to be growing in popularity, strong demand, people are all rushing there. Some places like Vietnam, which are obviously nearby to Thailand, but you can make and save a little bit more money and your dollar goes a little bit further. So it's not to suggest that Thailand is not a strong market. It still is one of the most popular in the world. But yeah, it just didn't make the cut this year.
Yeah, I said it was number 12, so it's right on the edge.
Yeah.
And then I guess one more question for you, Ahmed. I'm getting a good amount of questions, from people looking at other, self-paced, online, courses and other types of certification. Would you mind talking a little bit about the online course practicum, just a little bit more in depth and just why that's important?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when TEFL started as an industry, it was all in-person classes. This was before the internet age. And so live practice teaching was always a part of the experience. When things started moving remotely online to a lot of like online classes, for the fact that a lot of TEFL schools don't have the bandwidth to keep up with tracking students and completing practicum, a lot of schools just decided to drop it altogether. But that doesn't mean that it's not still a very important component of getting certified. It's a part of the training that employers ask about. They don't want to see that you just took a random class that you zipped through by clicking a bunch of buttons. They want to see that you have actual experience. And this is especially important for people who do not have a background in education already, which is probably a majority of the people who we speak with. It is extremely important to have that live practical component because on one hand, you're learning the content, you're gaining the knowledge, but how can you prove that you're able to put that into practice? And so practicum is extremely important for that reason. We monitor it, we care about it, it's a part of our curriculum because we know that employers care about it as well.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, great answer. And I think we've got time for one more question. I'll ask you, John, and I got to ask it. A lot of people, in the question pane, who may have taken other TEFL classes already and are looking for more information. Other people are kind of shopping around. Why, is ITA the best? Besides for the excellent webinars we run.
It's a good question, and there are a lot of good TEFL providers out there. I think what sets ITA apart is we're really like a full service TEFL school. And when you're looking at making a big change in your life and going abroad and living in some foreign country where perhaps you've never been, it's more than just taking a class or passing a class. And we certainly make every effort to provide the best TEFL classes available on the market. Our online class has been the #1 online TEFL class, for a very long time. It incorporates more practicum, it incorporates more hours, it's taught by higher qualified instructors, it's won numerous awards and recognition. So we certainly do stress the quality of the class because it's critical that you learn the skills you need to be able to run a classroom and provide your students with a great educational experience. But going abroad is more than just a class, and so that's why we really stress providing full service, personalized guidance from the pre-enrollment phase when you're learning about your options and you're asking your questions and you're talking to people like Ahmed and Doug and they're helping you figure out where you can go and how to get there and answering your questions about visas and salaries and interviews and hiring requirements and all of these variables that are critical to understanding if you want to be successful. And then also on the back end, job search guidance. So we have a team of 8 people full-time. Their purpose in life is to help our students and graduates get jobs and to help them navigate the process of interviewing, of getting visas, of getting necessary documents like background checks. And this is something you simply don't find at other TEFL schools. And we literally get at least 24 inquiries a day from people who took TEFL classes with other providers, some of them very well known, And they're contacting us simply because whoever they took their TEFL class from isn't providing them with the guidance and support that they need to actually figure out how to get a job once they've taken their class. So we put a lot of emphasis on that part of the process, and it's lifetime and it's comprehensive. So, you know, if you decide you don't want to go abroad this year or next year, hey, you can come back in 3 years, or maybe you go teach English in South Korea, and then you decide, hey, now I want to go to South America, or I want to go to Europe, or I want to teach English online and volunteer in, you know, sub-Saharan Africa, or whatever it is. You have the resources and guidance you need to be able to do that. And I think that's really what sets ITA apart from other TEFL organizations. And I think if you look at the reviews of ITA on some place like goabroad.com, you'll see that you know, in what our students have to say.
Awesome. Great answer, John.
Okay, well, we just passed the top of the hour. You should expect a follow-up email within the next hour or so. So definitely be on the lookout for it. It's a way that you can get in touch with your advisor, so please keep an eye out for it. It may be in your promotions folder in your email. So if you don't see it in your inbox in the next couple hours, check there. You know, or just give us a call at 773-634-9900, and you'll be put in touch with your advisor. So thanks to everybody for joining us. We're really excited to be helping people teach abroad in 2020. And Ahmed and Doug, great job as always. And good evening, good morning, whatever it is, and we'll be in touch. Take care, everybody.
Take care, guys. Peace.
Thanks. Good night, everyone.